All right, we're running a little late, so welcome. Thanks for thanks for coming. And I apologize that we didn't have any entertainment. You just had to kind of watch us go from one meeting to the other. Let's see. We've got some business we've got to start off with. We're first going to start with the invocation. In accordance with governing board policy BDDH, public participation in board meetings, the invocation will be offered by Pastor Sean Pugh from the Bethlehem Lutheran Church. We could all stand.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we ask that you dwell among us this evening. To my right and to my left, I have people that have years and years and years of education, and years and years and years in the classroom and out of the classroom with students. Gracious God, behind me, I have people that have taken years and years of their lives to serve you in this school board position. And God, we are so grateful for that. For this school board has 72,000 students, and it has just a whole lot of different people that work there, and their task is not an easy one. Tonight, there are people sitting here that are scared, and there are other ones that are excited. There are some probably that are going to be bored, and there are others that are glad that they can be here. But God, we ask that you be with all of them, that you be with the school board, that you be with the superintendent and the vice superintendents and all of the staff at Mesa Public School, because it takes a lot of people to make sure that these children learn the way they are supposed to do. Please continue to be with these people and help them make a difference, God, because that is the reason they are here. And all God's people say, amen.
All right, if we could remain standing, we'll try to we'll try to do this as smooth as possible, but I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with a pledge allegiance. It'll be led by Mrs. Arlinda Mann, West Area Assistant Superintendent.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to the, I think it's an exciting video outlining our board procedures, how we're going to go about today.
Welcome to the Mesa Public Schools Governing Board meeting. We appreciate your interest in the district. The 5 elected governing board members volunteer countless hours and serve without compensation. The president and the clerk of the board are elected in January. Under state law, the governing board may only discuss and vote on matters that are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Agendas are posted a minimum of 24 hours in advance on the Mesa Public Schools website and in the Curriculum Services Center. Copies of tonight's agenda are located in the lobby. Members of the public may speak to the agenda items. If you wish to comment on any agenda item, please fill out a request to address the board form. These forms are also located in the lobby. Before the item is discussed, please submit the completed form to the assistant to the governing board. Members of the public will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Once recognized by the governing board president, please state your name. We ask that all speakers show respect and courtesy to others. During the second regular meeting of each month, the agenda will include a call to the public, which is an opportunity to speak to the governing board about a school district matter that's not on the agenda. Please submit a request to address the board form to participate in the call to the public. If you want the governing board to consider adding an item to a future agenda, you may submit your request in writing to the board at least 5 working days before that meeting. The superintendent or the governing board president will consider your request. Thank you for your attendance and involvement in tonight's meeting.
All right, thank you for that. Now we've just got some administrative stuff to take care of, and then we'll get to probably the reason that you're here. First, we're going to vote on the minutes of the regular meeting held on January 9th, 2018.
Mr. President, I will be excusing myself from the voting on the minutes.
Okay, with that, do I have a motion?
I move to accept the minutes of the regular meeting held January 9th, 2018.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That's all. Okay, now we'll go to the certificated and classified personnel request, including the addendum.
Mr. President, we are asking your approval this evening of the certificated and classified personnel requests, including the addendum.
All right, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the certificated and classified personnel requests, including an addendum.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're on to the consent agenda items. All items listed will be considered as a group and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Do we have any? Nope. All right, do I have a motion? This is
I
where
move
play
we
time.
approve the consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Aye. Let's see. Now we're on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cowan?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's governing board meeting. This week is National School Choice Week, which provides a wonderful opportunity to raise public awareness about effective and educational choices for children. Parents in Arizona are empowered to select the best school environments for their children. We are grateful to the parents who choose to send their children to our schools. I firmly believe that Mesa Public Schools is the best choice for student success. The overwhelming majority of Mesa parents agree. The district continually looks for ways to offer innovative programming, and we are excited to partner with City of Mesa on the Mesa K-Ready initiative. K-Ready will leverage community resources and strategic partnerships to better prepare our youngest learners for kindergarten, resulting in greater academic and future career success. Many children are unprepared for the rigors of today's kindergarten, and notice, you don't often think of rigor with kindergarten, but in the state of Arizona and new state standards, it is quite rigorous, putting them at a disadvantage, these students who aren't ready, for their first day of school. K-Ready aims to close that gap and allow every child the opportunity to maximize their success. While the K-Ready initiative focuses on providing academically enriching experiences and resources for the child, it also provides access to needed social services for the family. The Mesa Chamber of Commerce, the Mesa United Way, and T-Mobile have committed to supporting the endeavor. And Liz Malavy, former Sousa Elementary School principal, is the program coordinator. We are eager to see the impact of Mesa K-Ready with the first cohort this spring, and we look forward to refining and expanding the program for fall 2018. Please offer our school nurses and health assistants some well-deserved recognition tomorrow on Health Office Appreciation Day. Healthy students are better able to learn and grow. Children with unmet health needs can have a challenging time engaging at school. Our district health professionals play an essential role in our schools, ensuring students are ready to learn by addressing physical, mental, emotional, and social health needs. These staff members save the day by helping our students be in the classroom and ready to learn. Health office staff, your service is invaluable to our schools, and we appreciate all that you do. Mr. President and board members, this concludes my very short board meeting presentation tonight, and I invite you to join me in front of the dais for this evening's recognitions, and invite Megan Phillips to come forward. Right here on this black star, okay? There's a special spot she has to stand so our photographer can get shots of this wonderful young lady. Let me introduce to you Megan Phillips. She's a senior at Red Mountain High School, and she's here for a very important reason. Last week, Megan was recognized as a U.S. Presidential Scholar in Career and Technical Education. She's a nominee by the Arizona Department of Education and was awarded at a special assembly at Red Mountain High School. I believe it was just recently, right? Please join me in watching this brief video that highlights Megan's extraordinary accomplishment for her work in biotechnology research. See yourself right over
Today,
there.
Megan Phillips, one of our outstanding senior students, was recognized for her work within our biotechnology program.
So I'm pleased to present Megan with this award for being selected as one of 5 Presidential CTE Scholar nominees from Arizona.
So I was recognized for the U.S. Presidential Scholars in CTE.
Megan's recognized for, yes, her academic prowess and her study and her research, but it's also her broader contributions to the whole.
I am currently conducting a research project for the Oak Creek watershed in Sedona, Arizona. Basically, I'm taking sediment samples up from Oak Creek and extracting the bacteria and sequencing the E. coli strain in order to figure out which animal it comes from. I am very honored to be recognized as one of 5 Arizona nominees for this award.
Okay, that was an artificial ending to a really cool video. Megan, as you can tell, is an incredibly bright young lady, and you'll have an opportunity to hear from her in just a second. Let me share just a little bit, and you heard some of this on the video. Megan is only one of 5 Arizona students nominated to represent the state. Her selection was based on academic rigor, technical competence, employability skills, ingenuity, and creativity. Megan is competing to be one of 20 scholars nationwide who will be recognized for their achievements at a ceremony sponsored by the White House. This is one of the nation's highest honors for high school career and technical education students. Yeah, you want to applaud this young lady? She's incredible. Congratulations, Megan. We applaud you for your commitment to academic excellence and for representing the many talented high school students across our state. Now, you want to finish the video and tell us some cool stuff about extracting E. coli strands from something that you find in the water? Did I get that kind of right? Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So come on over here and share some comments about your experience. Okay? You weren't planning on that. You can say whatever you like as long as it's rated G.
Okay.
All right.
Good evening. I'm Megan Phillips, and so I'm currently in my 3rd year of biotechnology at Red Mountain High School, and Pretty much Biotech 1 is you learn the basics of biotechnology. In Biotech 2, you advance your skills a little bit. In Biotech 3, you're really put to the test, and you are able to apply all of the skills that you have learned in the past 2 years in the program to your own research project that you come up with yourself, and you do all the research, the background research, and you see it through. And so basically, I went on a field trip to Oak Creek up in Sedona last May, and I found out that they have a pretty major reoccurring E. coli problem. And so I recognized a problem in the local community, and I was like, hey, I can do something about this. And so, yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. So.
So, Megan, you have some family here that are pretty proud of you? Yes. Like sitting right there with cameras? Yep. Okay, so there's family right there. Congratulations to your contributions to this. We also have Jared Ryan, the proud principal of Red Mountain High School, standing in the back. He is not a bouncer. He is actually the principal. Or he could also be a bouncer at Red Mountain High School. And then Marlo Loria is also here. She is our District Director of Career and Technical Education. Megan, your CTE teachers were needed at Red Mountain High School tonight for a special honors event that was going on. So Katie Gazda, one of your teachers, she is a biotechnology teacher. Barbara Torrey, another one of your teachers. And Julie Now, is that, or Na? Now, okay. She's an art and photo teacher in the CTE department chair. Each wanted me to tell you how proud they are of your accomplishments and to congratulate you and good luck to you as you continue on your journey, all right? Thank you so much for representing Mesa Public Schools, but more importantly, being the incredible young woman you are, and we honor you for your learning and for your focus on important things. Thank you, and congratulations. We'd like you to meet the governing board. You go back there and take their hand. If you haven't had the opportunity, this happens at several of our schools, but Red Mountain High School toward the end of the semester will have a evening celebration, I'm assuming, that shows some of the spotlights of the research of these students, and it is really, really impressive. Doing things all over the state of Arizona in biotechnology, biomedical, in science areas, in physics and chemistry, and a variety of other areas. Some outstanding work by some outstanding students, guided by dedicated educators and supported by administrators, and of course, under the nurturing of wonderful parents. Congratulations again, Megan. Thank you for what you do. Next on our agenda are spotlight recognitions. This program gives our community more of an opportunity to look at specific schools, programs, and departments, and allows us to recognize some really incredible people. This evening's spotlight recognitions include Taylor Junior High School, Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School, and our academic enrichment programs, which are part of the Division of Teaching and Learning at the district level. Will Principal Gina Perino, principal of Taylor Junior High School, if you'd please join me at the podium while we watch a brief video about your school.
Hi, I'm Gina Perino, proud principal at Taylor Junior High. Our motto is be your best, be Taylor. Taylor is the largest junior high in Mesa. We're a neighborhood school with a huge attendance area. As such, we work really hard to meet the needs of all of our very diverse population. One of our points of pride is our amazing performing arts program. This includes musicals as well as an award-winning choir, band, and orchestra program. Students love our school because they know that the staff cares. We know every name, strength, and need of each student. Our focus has been to increase student voice. I meet quarterly with a random group of 7th and 8th graders and ask them for honest feedback on what is working and what we need to improve. we break down this huge and often intimidating junior high into 6 small schools within a school. Each of the grade level teams of teachers knows their students and parents. No one falls through the cracks within a tight team community. We have an all boys and an all girls math class based on the research behind how boys and girls learn differently. Our thriving AVID program helps give access to honors classes to students who have the desire and work ethic to be on a college track, but who also need the support. We are an AVID highly certified school. In order to help our at-risk students, we model a successful intervention and special education inclusion program. Taylor is an A+ School of Excellence. We've also been recognized as a PBIS School of Merit and as a School of Merit for Civic Engagement by the state of Arizona. We are able to do all of these things by building a community with a common belief in helping all students be successful. Taylor really is a family.
That's Taylor Junior High School. Principal Perino, will you introduce us to some of your honorees for tonight? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cowan. I had asked to see the video and I was told I couldn't until tonight, so very nice, Helen, thank you. At Taylor Junior High, we focus on creatively meeting the needs of our diverse students. We are the only junior high with a middle school teaming structure that forms 6 smaller schools within a school, creating tight communities of teachers and students. I'd like to recognize a few people who make our school a success. First up is Natalie Gardner, 8th grade student. Please join me at the podium. Natalie is a fantastic role model. Along with perfect grades and attendance, she shows kindness, grace, and class. Teachers comment on her helpful nature in motivating struggling classmates. She's well-liked and strives to do her best. Natalie is a well-rounded student, engaged in music and performing arts, as well as school and community service. Just being around her makes us all strive to be better citizens. I'm honored to recognize you, Natalie, as our outstanding student. And if you'll just stand right there. We have another member of our community to celebrate as well. Stephanie Johnson, volunteer, please join me at the podium. Stephanie has selflessly served Taylor for many years. She regularly practices as the choir piano accompanist, refusing compensation. She's contributed time, money, and materials for several school musicals, helping to create professional quality sets, costumes, and programs. As a SIAC and Honors Committee member, she offers valuable insight and assists in steering our positive growth and direction. I'm honored to recognize you, Stephanie, as our volunteer extraordinaire. Penny Dapser, Title I School Improvement Specialist, please join me at the podium. Penny is the heartbeat of the school. Her guidance makes my job easier. She expertly facilitates staff development, successfully coaching teachers, providing feedback, and modeling good practice. She manages our Title I budget, which provides vital supplies, technology, materials, and salaries. Staff members regularly seek Penny's brilliant advice when they need to brainstorm or problem solve. I'm honored to recognize you, Penny, as our educator who makes a difference. Thank you. Jeff Kinsman, Facility Assistant, please join me at the podium. You can find Jeff at school before anyone else each morning, cleaning the entrance so our school looks its best. He takes initiative in ensuring our school runs smoothly. Students and staff admire his attention to detail. Polite and eager, he has a smile and a friendly greeting for all. When we launched our PBIS program, Jeff was one of the first classified staff members to show his support. We are lucky to have him on our team, and I'm honored to recognize you, Jeff, as our customer service champion. Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to tell you about a few of the incredible things happening at Taylor.
All righty. Congratulations again to Taylor. Please join me in recognizing some incredible people who do wonderful things every day for our students. Our next spotlight shines on Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School. Will Principal Sarah Collins please come forward and join me at the podium while we watch another video. It's good to see you.
Welcome to Red Mountain Ranch, home of the Challengers. At Red Mountain Ranch, we acknowledge the past, embrace the present, and invest in the future of every single individual. We truly believe that every student who walks through our doors is unique, individual, and has something amazing to offer. One thing that's great about Red Mountain Ranch is that when you walk down our halls, you're always greeted with a smile. We have an incredibly dedicated staff. They're hardworking, compassionate, and always do what's best for students.
But in case you don't know, I could help you. Okay, does that make sense?
At Red Mountain Ranch, we cultivate a connected learning community. We give each child exactly what they need, whether it be interventions,
10. Nice work.
enrichment, gifted and talented programs. We make sure that we meet each child where they're at. The students at Red Mountain Ranch are our leaders.
How do you know that's missing?
They're at the center of everything we do. We have fantastic before and after school programs, including yearbook, sports club, STEM club, student council, and National Elementary Honor Society. There is truly something for everyone at Red Mountain Ranch.
Well, that's all for today, Challengers. Let's make it another fun day of learning.
Red Mountain Ranch has a diverse population of learners, striving for their personal best every day.
At Red Mountain Ranch, we do what's best for each child.
Each child.
Each child. Each child.
Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School, Principal Collins, please introduce us to a few of the individuals that make this such an incredible school.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cowan. As you saw from our video, Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School acknowledges the past, embraces the present, and invests in the future of each student. We cultivate a connected learning community through compassion, perseverance, and excellence. Tonight, I want to thank you for allowing me to recognize a few people who make our school such a special place. Peyton Keck, 6th grade student, will you please join me at the podium? Peyton is confident in the type of person she wants to be. She's a poster child for a growth mindset, showing grit and determination in all she does. As a peer tutor for a classmate who is partially deaf, Peyton has made sure he understands directions and re-explains to him whenever needed. Her love for helping others has been a true example of her remarkable leadership on our campus. I'm honored to recognize you, Peyton, as our outstanding student.
Kimberly Balanoff, first grade teacher, please join me at the podium. Kim is an exceptional educator, colleague, and friend. Students love her fun and engaging lessons, and so do their parents. She dedicated countless hours getting our Girls on the Run program started last year and continued building it this year with the help of many other staff members on our campus. She's also her grade level team leader and a teacher representative for our PTC. Above all, Kim is devoted to her students, offering personalized accommodations, enrichment, and support of her students at any cost. I'm honored to recognize you, Kim, as our educator who makes a difference. Amanda Mandy Smith, Computer Lab Aide, Instructional Assistant, please step forward. Mandy does whatever is needed for our staff and students. She'll drop what she's doing when a panicked teacher calls with a technology issue, and she always saves the day. During summer break, she worked countless hours carefully labeling and preparing our computer carts for student use. She ensures our lab is accessible, organized, and clean for everyone. Every spring, she makes sure our computers are ready for AZ merit testing. Mandy's consistently kind and helpful. I'm honored to recognize you, Mandy, as our customer service champion. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase our close-knit community at Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School, and thank you to all of our staff members who worked so hard all day and made it here tonight to support our honorees.
Thank you for the applause for Red Mountain Ranch Elementary School. Congratulations, ladies, and thank you for your contributions as well. Our last spotlight of the evening shines on our academic enrichment programs. Will Dr. Andy Forlis, our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, please join me while we watch a brief video about how these important programs support students and staff.
Andy Forlis, the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, which includes 4 innovative programs: Mesa Distance Learning, Eagle Ridge Enrichment, Gifted and Talented, and Career Technical Education. The Mesa Distance Learning program began in 1998 with a goal to provide high-quality online courses that are available year-round. The open entry, flexible format of the program allows kindergarten through 12th grade students to enroll in a course when it is needed and work at a time of day and from a location that suits their needs. Eagle Ridge Enrichment Program welcomes over 700 homeschool students each year. Students come from Maricopa and Pinal counties to enroll in over 80 enrichment courses per semester. Students immerse themselves in music, drama, art, technology, physical education, and project-based learning. The Gifted and Talented Department provides appropriate challenge buttressed with relevant social and emotional learning and a growth mindset to set the stage for students to excel. The Gifted and Talented Department serves approximately 2,000 students from 3rd through 6th grade, with increased numbers throughout junior high and high school in honors and advanced placement courses. The Career and Technical Education Department staff support student success by ensuring CTE teachers have access to the most current equipment, supplies, technologies, and curriculum. With a budget of over $6 million, CTE staff works with teachers and vendors to update equipment, facilities, provide professional development, and needed supplies. These 4 programs demonstrate our commitment to developing a highly educated and productive community, one student at a time.
Dr. Forlis, why don't you introduce us to your honorees for this evening?
Thank you, Dr. Cowan. I'd like to do a quick shout out to Amy De La Torre, our leader of Eagle Ridge, Marlo Laria, who is our director of CTE, as well as Jennifer Eccles from Mesa Distance Learning, and Eric Von Berg from Gifted and Talented. The Teaching and Learning Division of Mesa Public Schools emphasizes 5 critical areas: quality curriculum, instructional materials support, assessment, professional development, and administrative and community support. Tonight, I would like to honor 2 members of our team from our academic enrichment programs, which include Career and Technical Education, Gifted and Talented, Eagle Ridge Enrichment Program, and Mesa Distance Learning, who are laser focused on success for all students. Peggy Lashir, CTE Instructional Specialist, please come join me at the podium. Did Marlo surprise you?
Yes, you did.
She's surprised. Peggy supports more than 13 programs and Peggy supports more, I'm hanging on to her. Peggy supports more than 13 programs and 3,000 secondary students in a variety of ways. An innovator, she created a curriculum to help students be tech savvy and internet safe. In her Dream Team project, CBO2 students create and promote sports teams with Microsoft and Google resources. They design marketing materials, organize financial data, and more using technology and software in a fun, real-world setting. I am honored to recognize you, Peggy, as our employee who makes a difference. As Peggy steps aside, we will celebrate another member of our teaching and learning team, Susan Schuler from Mesa Distance Learning. Please. Peggy is the registrar at Mesa Distance Learning, who greets every customer who walks through the door and answers every call with a smile. Her goal is to help students, parents, and staff immediately without having to transfer them elsewhere. She constantly expands her knowledge of the district to better help her customers. Her colleagues can also count on her to lend a hand when needed. Mesa Distance Learning Program wouldn't be the same without her. I am honored to recognize you, Susan, as our customer service champion. On behalf of Peggy, Susan, all of the incredible people in the Teaching and Learning Division, thank you for letting us shine our spotlight on our team.
Thank you to our master educators and our top-notch employees. Your individual and collective efforts engage and inspire young learners every single day. You give children the tools to be successful in life, which is evident in your outstanding students represented by this evening's meeting, and we celebrate you. Our Spotlight recipients receive a certificate of appreciation and an Amazon gift card for personal use from the Mesa Public Schools Foundation. In addition, our volunteer extraordinaire receives a candy-filled tumbler, and outstanding students are recognized with official portrait to be displayed in the governing board room. You can see there is last month's students. Now, I need you to know, there are so many incredible people that dedicate their lives to Mesa Public Schools, but more importantly to the children who come here every day. You had an opportunity to see some extraordinary ones, but I want you to know that they are representative of hundreds and thousands of individuals committed to the children in our community, and I join you in recognizing and valuing and appreciating these wonderful people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and we're going to take a brief 3-minute break for the 1 or 2 of you that would like to leave now. And after that, we'll resume our meeting. Thank you again for joining us and celebrating some outstanding students and staff.
Hi, I'm Gina Perino, proud principal at Taylor Junior High. Our motto is be your best, be Taylor. is the largest junior high in Mesa. We're a neighborhood school with a huge attendance area. As such, we work really hard to meet the needs of all of our very diverse population. One of our points of pride is our amazing performing arts program. This includes musicals as well as an award-winning choir, band, and orchestra program. Students love our school because they know that the staff cares. We know every name, strength, and need of each student. Our focus has been to increase student voice. I meet quarterly with a random group of 7th and 8th graders and ask them for honest feedback on what is working and what we need to improve. We break down this huge and often intimidating junior high into 6 small schools within a school. Each of the grade level teams of teachers knows their students and parents. No one falls through the cracks within a tight team community. We have an all boys and an all girls math class based on the research behind how boys and girls learn differently. Our thriving AVID program helps give access to honors classes to students who have the desire and work ethic to be on college track, but who also need the support. We are an AVID highly certified school. In order to help our at-risk students, we model a successful intervention and special education inclusion program. Taylor is an A+ School of Excellence. We've also been recognized as a PBIS School of Merit and as a School of Merit for Civic Engagement by the state of Arizona. We are able to do all of these things by building a community with a common belief in helping all students be successful. Taylor really is a family.
Welcome to Red Mountain Ranch, home of the Challengers! At Red Mountain Ranch, we acknowledge the past, embrace the present, and invest in the future of every single individual. We truly believe that every student who walks through our doors is unique, individual, and has something amazing to offer. One thing that's great about Red Mountain Ranch is that when you walk down our halls, you're always greeted with a smile. We have an incredibly dedicated staff. They're hardworking, compassionate, and always do what's best for students.
But in case you don't know, I could help you. Okay, does that make sense?
At Red Mountain Ranch, we cultivate a connected learning community. We give each child exactly what they need, whether it be interventions,
10. Nice work.
enrichment, gifted and talented programs. We make sure that we meet each child where they're at. The students at Red Mountain Ranch are our leaders.
How do you know that's missing?
They're at the center of everything we do. We have fantastic before and after school programs, including yearbook, sports club, STEM club, student council, and National Elementary Honor Society. There is truly something for everyone at Red Mountain Ranch.
Well, that's all for today, Challengers. Let's make it another fun day of learning.
Red Mountain Ranch has a diverse
All right,
population
I
of learners,
think
striving for their personal best.
in the interest of time, we'll close the door and let everybody watch the presentation. They're almost out. All right, we'll move on to the next part of tonight's meeting, and that is a presentation on one-to-one rollouts at the high schools. Something I'm very excited to hear about.
Mr. President, I'm going to just intervene for just a minute here. Under the direction of the governing board and with the thankful support of many, many members of our community, we have a bond. That bond concludes at the end of this year. One of the priorities of that bond has been to infuse technology across the district. One of the subsections of that infusion of technology is a one-to-one correspondence for our high school students. Now, bringing technology to a school is probably the easy part. Nathan may not agree with me, but it's the easy part. The difficult part is helping our educators learn how to use it effectively, augmenting great teaching to better enhance student learning, and then helping our students to become responsible users of technology is an important part of this as well. We are in phase 3 of that one-to-one project, and Nathan is here to give us an update on how things have gone at the two most the newest schools, as well as representation from our administration at Mesa High School to talk a little bit about what it's like in the trenches. So with that, not needing a lot of introduction, we have Nathan Myers, one of the most important movers and shakers in Mesa Public Schools, and a very, very devoted and loyal person to the students that we serve. Mr. Myers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cowan, for the introduction, and thank you, Governing Board, for the opportunity to present to you tonight. This evening, I'll be, as Dr. Cowan mentioned, providing an update on our one-to-one blended learning initiatives at both Mesa High and Mountain View, and discussing the programs and structures that we put in place to support the teachers and students at those schools and throughout our one-to-one initiatives at each of the high schools. To start, I'd like to provide just a little bit of historical background, as I believe it's important to recognize where we started and how far we have actually come in a very short amount of time. During the 2013-14 school year, we as a district took our first steps toward implementing one-to-one blended learning environments with the inception of our innovation team programs. That year we launched 13 different programs that ran the gamut of subject areas and grade levels in our district. David Sanders, my colleague in information system, effectively refers to this time as our Best Buy period, because pretty much anything that you could go and walk into on Best Buy shelves as far as devices go, we were implementing and trying out in teaching and learning to find out what would work best with our students. And it was a very important time because exactly that happened. Over the next 2 years, we learned many things. How to manage the logistics of a rollout and scale our infrastructure. We learned a great deal about best practices and what worked for our students and teachers and what didn't work for our students and teachers. And most importantly, we learned what we wanted to repeat and expand moving forward and what we never wanted to do again. So with that, moving forward in 2015-16, we took our one-to-one initiatives with the support of the board and superintendency and moved them into our first 2 comprehensive high schools, Skyline and Westwood. The preceding year, or the following year rather, in 2016-17, we rolled our one-to-one initiatives at Red Mountain High School and Dobson as well, and we had an opportunity last April, I believe it was, to hear from Tamara Addis, the principal of Dobson, on how those initiatives have impacted her students and teachers. And then finally, this year, we had the opportunity to complete our transition of all 6 comprehensive high schools to one-to-one blended learning environments with the onboarding of Mesa High and Mountain View this past fall. To provide just some statistical data as far as the rollouts on those 2 campuses, at Mesa High, David Sanders and his team issued 3,533 devices to students on that campus this August, and at Mountain View, 3,308 devices to students on that campus. From the hardware perspective. From a software perspective, there are 2 very, very important programs that sit at the foundation of our blended learning experience out there. We have Canvas and OneNote. Canvas is our learning management system in Mesa Public Schools. It is the tool by which teachers can create and publish content online so that students can access both inside and outside the 4 walls of the classroom. It is also where they can place resources, whether those are video resources or interactive resources, and where students can also be assessed. And the advantage of our learning management system is many of those assessments that are offered through that tool can provide immediate feedback to our students. OneNote is a Microsoft-based product which can be used as a companion to Canvas or even as a standalone component for blended learning itself. It is a tool for digital notebooking, allowing teachers to put those same types of resources together in a collaborative notebook to be shared with students. Both of these programs were used at Mesa High and Mountain View prior to the one-to-one rollout, primarily in our English language arts classes and our mathematics classes, because in those areas we had carts in a one-to-one process in the classroom. But since the role of the district-wide initiative Both of these programs, Canvas and OneNote, have seen roughly a 380% increase in use across both campuses, which is significant and speaks to the teachers and how they are grasping on to this way of teaching and learning in their classrooms. I could certainly speak all night and do so passionately about the professional structures and supports that we put in place at our blended learning in the interest of time, and I don't think anybody necessarily wants that here tonight, but I would like to highlight a few of the major ongoing programs that we have, not only at Mesa High and Mountain View, but all of our high schools. First, the Blended Learning Rounds and Symposium. Last year, as we prepared to go one-to-one at Mesa High and Mountain View, we had a very unique opportunity to leverage the experiences and the lessons learned by the teachers at the other 4 comprehensive high schools that came before them, teachers who are already implementing these programs in their first or second year of their teaching. With the Blended Learning program, or Blended Learning Rounds rather, we were able to leverage the subcadre from professional development and take teachers from both Mountain View and Mesa High of the same subject area and give them the opportunity to observe their colleagues of that same subject at one of the 4 high schools that had come before them. They had the opportunity to observe in a half-day experience, observe what was going on in those classrooms, to meet with those teachers, ask questions. It provided amazing opportunities to ask questions and to converse with their colleagues and get information from people who had already been there and done that. And it did a tremendous amount to ease those concerns and help those teachers see the reality of what is being implemented and has been implemented before them. It was a great experience, onboarding experience for those teachers. Last year we were able to conduct 13 rounds in total. And we focused in math, science, social studies, world languages, English, CTE, and special education. As we went through that program, a consistent piece of feedback that we received not only from Mountain View and Mesa High teachers, but from the host teachers who were being observed, was that wouldn't this be an amazing opportunity if we could all take part in this, if we could all get together and collaborate in the same subject areas across the 6 high schools, which is exactly what we did over the summer. We retooled this, rebranded it the Symposium, because that was more in line with the format change that we had done. And we, again, through the subcadre, are able to provide and take teachers of the same subject from all 6 high schools, bring them together for an entire day, where at the host site, they are still observing teachers who are exercising best practices and doing wonderful things with the integration of technology. But then in the afternoon, getting together as a larger cadre and discussing what they saw and asking questions. And our trainers conduct a needs assessment prior to those experiences so that they can conduct some focused trainings on what it is those teachers want at that particular time. We involve our content area specialists so that they can receive information from them, and our content area specialists are brought into the loop, as well as from our online design coaches that are at each of the high schools as well, take part in these experiences. That was our focus first semester. This semester we are going to continue with that, but as we learn and evolve and try to address the ever-changing needs of the high schools, we are planning on taking, and actually have with Red Mountain last Friday, some of those days that have been reserved, and instead of the inter-district with all 6 high schools, taking some of those days and offering a symposium experience that targets one high school at a time so that they can address their very specific needs and even have the opportunity to get out of their classrooms to see teachers implementing technology in other subject areas, which has a lot of advantages too. It might not necessarily, it might be a math teacher looking at a science, but oh, I never thought of it that way. And giving them an opportunity to do some rounds throughout the course of that day in a rotation. We implemented this for the first time last Friday at Red Mountain High School, and it was received very well by the teachers who participated in that event. And we do plan to roll that out to each of the high schools at different times this semester. Okay. Every time over the past 3 years, a high school has had the opportunity to become a one-to-one initiative. They've also had the opportunity to work with Dr. Tracy Eastlis in professional development and come up with a plan specific to their school. The technology committee and the site administration work together, again, assessing the current needs of their staff and come together with a plan on how they will leverage professional development days over the course of the year to address those needs with training, with development time, and so forth. Mountain View and Mesa High are currently in the process of implementing those plans and going through them right now with the support of educational technology, the OIDCs, and the site administration. I've said several times so far tonight, I've mentioned the OIDCs and the trainers. The technology team, at the core of the technology teams at each of the 6 high schools, sit 4 individuals. 2 full-time trainers that report to me in educational technology, and then we have 2, and I keep using the acronym OIDCs. It stands for Online Instructional Design Coaches, and these are full-time teachers that report to the site administrator, but half of their day is spent in the classroom leveraging Canvas, learning and practicing those best practices with their students. And then the other half of their day is spent coaching their colleagues in how to run a blended learning class and leverage Canvas and tools like Microsoft OneNote as well. It cannot be overstated how important it has been to the success of our initiatives to have these resources on the campuses full time. It's been a tremendous resource for the teachers. Those 4 people, along with a lot of other support personnel at the campus, are focusing their time and attention on 3 major areas: our teachers, our students, and our parents. So I'd just like to kind of go into what that looks like on a campus day to day. With our teachers, you know, as we planned what this was going to look like and how this was going to roll out, one of our brilliant ideas was, hey, prep periods. We could offer in-service trainings 6 times a day and move people in on prep, and in conversation on paper that looks great, but in reality it turns out teachers aren't so keen on giving away their prep times for the day for anything other than preparing for what they're going to do for the upcoming sections. So we regrouped, retooled. We spent a considerable investment in researching and procuring technology specifically aimed at increasing motivation and engagement with adult learners. And we installed those technologies in the trainer areas of each of our comprehensive high schools as a way to do exactly that. Sugar and chocolate are very important in our profession. They provide the fuel for moving forward. But what this did, though, it was an interesting thing what prep periods morphed into. They became a more organic experience with our teachers. Because we have those folks supporting the teachers and are integrated as part of their staff with them on a daily basis and forging those relationships, the teachers became more and more comfortable approaching them during their prep periods when they had one-off needs and something that they wanted to be addressed. Hey, I'm having this problem with this integration. Could you help me? And a lot of times that bled into, hey, we helped with the prep period. Could you come to my next hour and help me see this through and provide some coaching and guidance? So while the prep periods did not go as planned, they definitely, again, morphed into a very organic and natural relationship that has proven a tremendous support area. Another outreach for our teachers, for those formalized trainings we were looking to do during prep periods, have kind of taken the form of Tech Tuesdays or Tech Thursday type implementations where each week a different area of integration of technology is covered and announced, and the teachers can drop in. Those trainings are offered before school, during lunches, and after school on a drop-in basis, and have been also met with quite a bit of success and interest from the teachers as well. So that's kind of how we handle the more formalized approach to what we're doing to support those folks. We also have news feeds for our teachers through Architect, our content management system, and each edition at all of the 6 high schools that the trainers and the OIDCs create do a couple things: provide tips and tricks that are pertinent to the needs and concerns on the campus at that point in time. And they've also begun to highlight teachers that are doing some exemplary things in their classrooms. For instance, Mr. Myers in World Languages is integrating Flipgrid with his students. These are the elements that he has seen improve and some positive things about that. If you're interested in learning more about Flipgrid, see Mr. Myers. He's in room 206. And this does a couple things. It kind of elevates certain teachers as experts in a particular tool among their peers, and it starts to build that self-sustaining culture of integration on a campus as well, to where the teachers are coming to one another for assistance. For students, we had an excellent opportunity. I had an excellent opportunity back in October to attend the Latino Town Hall. And we had a panel of 3 students during that event from Dobson and Westwood High Schools, junior, senior, and a student who had recently graduated. And the panel was excellent. It talked about their experiences in student life across the board, but there was a portion of that conversation that dealt specifically with their experiences in technology. And what was interesting is these are, again, juniors and seniors and somebody who had recently graduated, and this technology was just now coming into their hands in their career as a student with Mesa. They were not used to learning this way. And you know, we use the term digital native constantly. And what that essentially means is they're great at this. They're great at, they've never been in a world where this didn't exist, and they can leverage this beautifully for social media, for communication of that type. But there is nothing native about utilizing this technology the way we do in the workforce, or the way we're expecting them to do as far as file management and the creation of documents and such. And they were expressing that concern to us, that all of a sudden this is here and now we're expected to know this. We heard that loud and clear. We got together as a training staff, and how some of this support is beginning to play out is already happening at Mesa High School, and there's plans being made at Mountain View as well. During the video announcements, 2 times a week, there are now student-created and student-led tech tips for students. And again, students helping one another and publishing that information out there. And it is definitely something, you know, to see. For our students as well, just like the teachers, we have news feeds. We can publish tips and tricks to them as well based on their needs, and we are receiving our guidance from the students. What is it that you feel you need? How would be the best delivery model? Sometimes it's via email, sometimes it's notifications via Canvas. It just depends on the culture at that particular school as well. And as far as parents, as we have rolled each high school to the one-to-one environment, David Sanders and I have had the opportunity to support the administration with community nights. We have participated in many of these and are always at the disposal of the administration and can be there very, very quickly. This gives the community members a chance to come into the auditorium of the high school and have their needs met and questions answered about what exactly is blended learning and what does it look like in Mesa. Mesa High and Mountain View this past summer by far had the largest turnout of any of our high schools. It was amazing to see all of the faces and interested community members in what we're doing with blended learning in our district. Something else that's also happening at the high schools, and Mesa High and Mountain View included, is newsletters. The site administration publishes quarterly newsletters to the community, and as a technology committee, we've worked to make sure that there is a feature with what is going on, again, to keep our community involved and up to date, because after all, this was their bond monies that they had voted to approve that are funding what we're doing in our classrooms with technology integration. And then I won't go into it too much. I've had an opportunity to present a number of times, but our blended learning programs of study is continuing. Continued last summer, and we will look to do this in the summer of 2018. Last summer, we graduated 428 teachers through the program. 100 of those were Mountain View teachers, and 118 were Mesa High. So that's a wonderful onboarding experience as well for our teachers to kind of control their learning and pursue their interests in technology. The administrator's role in establishing the climate and culture on their campus regarding blended learning and setting those expectations of how technology should be used in teaching and learning on their campus is absolutely critical. So with that, I would like to introduce at this point Kirk Thomas, the principal of Mesa High, to speak to us about how one-to-one blended learning has had an impact on his teachers and students. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. President Smith, governing board members, Dr. Cowan, and superintendency. Thank you for letting me speak here a little bit about the impact at Mesa High School with the one-to-one. I'd like to begin by saying one of our first successes was being able to distribute pert near 3,600 devices, and that's a success. I bring that up in part because I feel like going third in this process really benefited us. We were able to do a lot of planning before the rollout. talk to sister schools about the things that they experienced, not just with passing out laptops, but what it looks like in the classroom was very beneficial at Mesa High School. As you can imagine, with a lot of teachers on your campus, just like in a classroom, there's a wide range of learners. Kids in the classroom that are really prepared and some that are maybe a little bit behind. And with teachers and technology, that range is probably just as wide. We've got brand new teachers on our campus and teachers that have been there for 30 plus years. Technology to some of those teachers is a projector maybe, what they're experienced with over that time period. And so that large range of learners, when it comes to technology, we had to consider what that would look like as we went one-to-one. So we kind of took the approach of sometimes you got to go slow to go fast. So we put in some basic expectations for folks this year. That would include getting into Canvas, putting your syllabus on Canvas, having within your PLCs coming up with a unit that would go into Canvas. And that's really benefited us in a lot of ways. We've spent a lot of time before school even started. Some of the supports that Nathan mentioned to you, I could go on and on about the supports that we have enjoyed at Mesa High School with the folks. We had a day before school started that teachers could come back and get training before school even started, before the regular contract day, and had a huge number of folks that came to that day. I think also with those blended learning rounds and teachers getting out to schools last year, helped that anxiety of teachers, especially those veteran teachers that maybe weren't exactly sure how it was going to look into their classrooms. They got to experience that, and that was beneficial, I think, to the receptiveness of our teachers on having technology in their classroom. And so then our approach this year in terms of putting some basic expectations in with our PLCs, giving teachers time in our late starts to be able to do that, providing them time during our regular PLC time to create those units and put those units into Canvas, I think has been very beneficial, because a lot of our PLCs have gone way beyond those minimum expectations. In fact, one of the challenges that we're working with right now is, and we've never done this, we've never gone through the collection process, but many of our teachers have their coursework and their assessments in Canvas. And at the end of this semester, we're going to have to collect those devices before graduation and kids get out and those kinds of things, and working with IS on what that plan looks like, and still allowing folks to be able to give their finals and CRTs in Canvas is one of the things that we're working with the district on in terms of timing and those kinds of things. So the receptiveness by our teachers has been, you mentioned, or you heard Nathan mention the numbers of the program of study, Mesa 118, Mountain View 100, 118 Mesa, 100 Mountain View. You heard that. Again, the receptiveness has just been outstanding by our teachers. So we know it's a process, and we know that some teachers are utilizing it more than others. But again, going third in this process, I think, has benefited us by being able to enjoy some of those things. I will share one other thing with you as well. On March the 2nd, and I don't know the name of this yet. We're calling it a tech day or an expo day or something. Instead of doing our next blended rounds, we've decided to have those substitutes be on our campus. Our teachers are then, we're going to take those 24 subs, turn it into 2-hour blocks for 72 teachers then, to be able to go into classrooms on our campus to see our teachers engaging with technology, so that when they see something that's kind of neat, kind of cool, they can go back to that colleague on our campus and engage in more discussion with them, and able to bring those kind of ideas into their classroom. So our one-to-one committee is working on that right now. We're going to invite folks from across the district and district to come out and visit with us during that time frame. We're going to invite parents out to our campus to experience some of the things that their kids are seeing with technology on that day. It's in the works right now, but it's coming. March 2nd is going to be a big success day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kirk. Mr. Milbrandt was unable to be with us today due to a prior obligation actually taking place on his campus tonight, but he did express many of the successes that they have experienced with their teachers. Some of his teachers have gone completely paperless where that was able to be done. He is proud of a lot of the ability, because of the data that's been provided to us through the technology with Canvas and some of our assessment tools, those data-driven decisions that can happen, every day in the class room has really seen an impact on his campus, and just the collaboration he wanted to note that is able to be done between the students and teachers as well. So with that, I would ask if there are any questions for me or for Mr. Thomas, or.
Cool. I will start us off with, I've got a bunch of questions.
Absolutely.
I'll ask one, and then I'll kind of pass the baton and fill in the blanks if no one answers or asks the same questions that I've got written down. My first question is related to students that transfer in. You know, we just got back from winter break. You may have had some families move in. How are those kids that started the school year, maybe in a different district, at a different school, how do you find they adapt mid-year when for this far
Excellent
along?
question. And that actually is the student induction process at each of our high schools. We have worked as trainers with the counseling teams, with the site administrators, to where, you know, there is a period of time between when they are declaring, you know, registering for the school, and when everything kind of kicks in as far as our student information system and getting their accounts ready. And during that time, we work with them one-on-one in cooperation with the counselors and the trainers to expose them to Canvas, to expose them to our learning dashboard, Clever, and how to log in with Active Directory, and the potential of their device, treatment, our VPN, how to log in from outside of the network and everything. So we have kind of those induction processes for our incoming students ongoing. Some high schools do those once a week with their counseling department. Some do it on a daily basis. It just kind of depends on the school, but those are definitely processes in place.
Okay, cool. I do have other questions. Some are probably more technical than this forum, so I'll hold those maybe till afterwards. But does anybody else have any questions, comments?
You mentioned a number of things, Principal Thomas, about the teachers. What's the reaction from the students? What would you say would be the top 2 things they like about the devices, and what are the 2 things you hear the most concerns about?
You know, it's interesting. Nathan mentioned that kids with cell phones and things are really comfortable with that. We're hearing more and more that kids feel like they need more training with Canvas as well. It's one of those things where we spend a lot of time in training our teachers on how to get on campus, how to put things on campus, and we feel like we didn't do as good of a job in giving that kind of instruction to kids. So we're developing plans to be able to do that better with kids for sure. So that's one of the things that we've heard from kids for sure. The thing they like about the best is, heck, it's a computer that they take home with them and they can use almost in any way they want to. So they almost like it too much sometimes, and that's where land school comes into play, where teachers can kind of monitor what they're doing on that device. But the big thing, the big feedback from us in learning with kids is we need to train them on how to get onto campus and use Canvas a little bit better than we did this first year.
Do you feel that Canvas has enough versatility? Do you have the ability to customize when you want to change things up a bit and see issues that you would like to work with more? Can you adapt the Canvas to that?
One of the feedback we get from teachers quite a bit is that Canvas and Synergy doesn't talk in terms of the grading, and that's just something that we kind of work through. So that's one of maybe the challenges that teachers share. In terms of the ability of Canvas, I think we're just getting into it in terms of what the abilities are, and like I say, some teachers know it a little bit better than others, and some of the tech sessions that we have are always geared towards showing teachers how to do something different in there. And oftentimes a teacher will come to one of our OIDCs or one of our tech folks and say, I'd like to do this, and how do I do this? And so we're still kind of learning that a little bit as far as that goes, but the big thing I hear from teachers is the inability of Canvas to talk to Synergy with the grading going back and forth.
And one more question for you, sorry.
Sure.
What do you feel is the most important role of the principal in the support of this?
It's a great question. Part of it, I think, is providing them with the resources, teachers with the resources that they need. One of those resources being time, and that's why we've taken the approach of providing them time through PLC process and late starts. because again, it's a learning process for teachers and they need some time to figure some things out, and time's a huge resource. I also think, though, it's important to understand that there are expectations of using the devices. You might be a 35-year veteran teacher that have never used it before, but there are some benefits that you can have in your classroom by using the devices, and so having those expectations and holding folks accountable to those things, I think, is important as well. The other piece I would say is just communicating with our community. You know, our community turned out in large numbers, had lots of questions about the process. Partway through the semester, our filter changed a little bit, and what kids were able to access changed, and that was contrary to the communication that we had shared with our community. And Helen Hollins and her office worked well with us in putting some communications out to our community to explain to them the need for that filter change and what that looked like. So working with our community members and really educating them on the benefits of technology, I think, is also the role of the principal.
I do have a question. As you look at Canvas and what it does, and my orientation with Canvas is from the student perspectives, sitting with a student that actually uses it to organize, get their message out, bring students together for clubs, activities, initiatives. Is there the consideration that you would have a student leader actually help with the implementing of student learning with the actual process? Because what I've found, the few students that has sat down with me with it, they are the leaders, right? The leaders rise to the top and can use this information in a way other students aren't using it because they don't know about it. With that information that we do need this training, have we considered integrating students in the process to do these maybe group teaching or learning sessions?
I think anytime you can involve students, it's a positive thing.
Yes.
We've got student announcements on there right now that we push out to students every day so they can access that, in addition to the other ways that we push announcements out to get information into their hands. But I think anytime you involve students in anything you're doing, it's going to be a good thing. Yes.
Well, I very much would like, I don't know, the board, we haven't talked about this as a group, but that students are involved, because I just believe that role modeling is the best way for students to engage and get it and do it, because that's what they do.
And then the ownership and that buy-in
Yes.
becomes even better. Yeah, I agree.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming today.
I have a question, Nathan, for you.
Sure, absolutely.
Kirk, I'll let you sit down for a second. Kirk mentioned that teachers' frustration with Synergy and Canvas, and that's not a new frustration. We've heard that before, but I understood we were working on where are we in that, and also my other question was, I understood that Land School had some limitations and
Yes.
we were looking at other options. Would you talk to me about both of those?
Certainly. So with the Synergy Canvas communication, we are indeed working with Synergy and their programmers at this point in time. We had several preliminary meetings with them, and then they returned back to their corporate office to conduct some of that coding that was necessary to be, you know, to allow the two to communicate with a series of standards that are already in place for communication of educational data. My understanding in our last follow-up, which was just immediately after returning from break, was that they had done a lot of the footwork and everything is in place for that communication, but they were having some difficulty at the time with authentication and passing the correct credentials. So that work is still moving forward, but we have yet to see the results of that, and are eagerly anticipating. We're checking in with them weekly at this point.
Do you have any projection about when? Are you hoping by?
We are very much hoping to have something in place by the end of this year so that we can look at how, over the summer, what that's going to mean and what we need to put in place to train the teachers on what that looks like and work with our Synergy support desk and get the protocols in place. So we're eager to see it first so that we can see what we need to do to respond to it. And your second question with regard to Land School. Land School has kind of been interesting. The problems that we have been having have been sporadic and hard to track down. It's kind of been a digital whack-a-mole with some of the issues that we've been experiencing. David's team is working very close.
I don't think you should say whack-a-mole and computers. Like we don't want them to hit their computer.
Sometimes it's therapy. But David's team has been working wants to add to this, very closely with Land School and their engineers, and we are still actively seeking teachers who are experiencing these so that we can move a team in to diagnose and see what exactly is going on. But it's kind of interesting at the scope at which we operate as a district, the size of our network, and the number of computers trying to track this down. But that is definitely something that is active right now too. So you're welcome. And to kind of address your question, Board Member Sears, with regard to student leaders, one of the things that we're doing at Skyline right now, and our trainers there and the CTE teachers there are CTE interns, which is actually a course that is offered, and we're looking to kind of morph that internship to be exactly what we were talking about, students leading students and being a support mechanism for their peers, and being placed in that role of leadership as well. So we're working with site administration to see what that would be and start to advertise that as a course and as a leadership role for students on the campus this coming year. So
Awesome. I'm very happy to hear that.
One more question I had is we talked when we first rolled out 2.5 years ago in Skyline that we thought maybe 2 or 3 years to get at least some level of stability on a learning curve for the teachers to come up to speed. Now that we're 2.5 years into that, we've got some that are 6 months, some that are 2 years with Westwood, 2.5 years with Skyline. What are you seeing as far as teachers getting comfortable, some level of not sure exactly how to describe it, but something along those lines?
absolutely. Our trainers out there, in fact, just Friday I was having a conversation with Robert Atwood and Zach Lair, who are our 2 ed tech trainers, and we were discussing this, and the needs have certainly changed. When we first implemented it, educational technology as well as information systems, we're doing a lot of troubleshooting and just basic navigation of the technology and how do we make things work. And since that time, that has allowed us, the teachers becoming comfortable with it, has allowed us to transition into our more natural role, which is coaching in how to actually conduct blended learning and do the types of professional learning that our folks are specialists in. So we definitely see an increase in the comfort level with the technology and the willingness to do that. From our veteran teachers, we still, just as with our incoming students, have the induction program. We also focus on our new teachers in those areas, as well as all the 6 high schools. But we are actually working at several of our high schools to leverage subcadres during days that they're not all being used, to specifically target new teachers and bring them into the fold quickly. So, very well.
My last question for you kind of piggybacks off what you just said. In addition to new teachers, we've got substitutes that come in.
Mm-hmm.
How are they reacting to?
It was an eye-opening experience for many of them, and since that time, Jolyn Hilton is a trainer in our department who has led an initiative with several of her colleagues to offer training for our substitute teachers, both our subcadre specifically, but our general substitute teacher pool, where we have had several times throughout the years. We launched a big one in August where they can come in, several things, Windows 10. How to troubleshoot many of the technology components, whether that's the interactive whiteboard or the touch surfaces of the device. And even though they don't necessarily have access to Canvas, strategies for working with the students when they're doing substituting and what Canvas means in our classroom to kind of help them with the expectations that have changed dramatically when they walk into one of our classrooms. So we have been putting programs together to address our subs.
My mic on. My last, I guess it's not a question, more of a statement, is that I've been in the industry for quite a number of years, and I know that Canvas can integrate if you push them hard enough. So
we are pushing and working. So
keep pushing them.
Absolutely.
They'll integrate. They'll help you with that. That was actually one of my questions earlier, and it was addressed. So cool. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. This is huge for us to become an innovative school and competitive. We need to be able to move forward with programs like this. So you spearheading it, leading it, getting through all these hurdles. We've heard feedback, good and bad. I haven't heard any bad for at least a year, and even the bad stuff, deserves air quotes, because it was just hurdles, this stuff they needed to get through. So, and you've tackled every little bit of feedback that I've heard, so I appreciate that and appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for support of everybody in this room. We definitely couldn't have accomplished any of that without you, so thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Nathan.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move to call to the public. No request to speak. We can. Anybody in the audience that wants to come say hi? Okay, with that, let's just skip the video and move to item 14.
I move that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.